Hello, everyone. Welcome to Speak Up, Sis Talk Radio, the show where Christian authors share their stories through their books to inspire you to speak up and share yours. I'm your host, Inspirational Conversationalist, author, and spiritual life advisor, Angel Charmaine. Today, I have an amazing show for you. I've invited author Mary Roberts to the Speak Up Sis space to share her journey with us from painful to purpose-filled. Let me tell y'all, I met Mary last year, and she is a breath of fresh air. It is rare that you meet a woman who is healed and whole, who's confident and sure of her place in the kingdom, her position, her walk. She owns her stuff. She embodies being able to acknowledge, own, and give voice to truth in order to revive dreams and empower purpose. And that is what Speak Up Sis is all about. So when I had an opportunity to meet Mary and invite her into the Speak Up Sis experience world, where she sat down with me to help facilitate conversations with women in order to help women bounce back from the hard stuff of life, I knew like we were going to be friends. And so when she wrote her, actually she has a new book out now, but the one we're going to discuss today is the, what shall I say? It's the most recent published book. And I said, I got to have you on my show. I need you to talk about this book because there are so many women who need to hear your story. There are so many women who can benefit from hearing your story. And so I am so excited, so pleased, so grateful to have author Mary Roberts here in the Speak Up Sis space today. So let's give her a great big welcome to the show. Hello, Mary Roberts. How are you doing? And welcome to Speak Up Sis Talk Radio.
I'm fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time. I know this was kind of last minute, but I'm glad that you made a little bit of time to sit down with me and chop it up. Yes, you all, Mary and I are actually sitting across the table from one another. Yes. So this should be a really, really good, juicy conversation. So Mary, before we get started, if you will, please tell everybody just a little bit about who you are and what it is you have going on in your life right now.
Well, my name is Mary Roberts, and I am an author and inspirational speaker. I am a mother of 3 fabulous grown kids.
She doesn't even look like it, y'all. She does not look like it.
And I have 3 beautiful grandbabies and 1 on the way.
Congratulations.
Yes, we are excited. I am a member of Greater Faith of Augusta under the leadership of Chief Apostle LaMarcus Hudson and Senior Prophetess Crystal Hudson. Okay. I am an ordained minister of the gospel, and I just love doing kingdom business.
That's what I like to hear. You know, I'm all about kingdom business. So that's what's up. Well, you know, here on Speak Up Sis Talk Radio, this is safe space for Christian authors, and I like to stress Christian authors because sometimes we get a bad rap. And there just aren't a lot of spaces where people want to hear what we have to say. So Speak Up Sis Talk Radio provides Christian authors this safe space to share the word of your testimony through your written work. So we're here to talk about your written work. And the one that we're going to discuss today is entitled Painful to Purpose-Filled. And I love the play on the words. Painful, F-U-L-L, right. Full of pain.
Right. Yes.
that pain leads us to being filled with purpose,
yes,
right?
That's right.
So, tell me, what precipitated the writing of this book? What made you decide that you needed to write this book?
I was going through in a relationship. I was trying to come out of a relationship. And anybody that knows that's really been in love, it's not that easy. People tell you to just walk away. We wish it was that easy, but it's really not. Oh. And because the person that I fell in love with gave me everything that I've never gotten from any other guy.
And what do you mean by that? And okay, so just know I ask the hard questions. Okay. So we're not going to skate over the hard stuff. I want to know, what does that mean? He gave you the things that no one else did. Did he give you tangible things, money, cars, and stuff like that? Or was it emotional, psychological types of things? So what did he give you that other people didn't or other men had not?
Well, he was supportive. He was easy to talk to. He was always right there by my side to encourage me. And he, not just like that, but like he took me places that I had never been that I always wanted to go. You know, if I called him and said I needed something, he was right there. And I'm used to being the giver.
Gotcha.
So, you know, and the tables were turned. Like anytime I needed, whether it was struggling with a bill or something going on with my car or whatever it was, I just was like a phone call away. Even going places to like minister or wanted a new dress, I could just say, I saw a dress that I really wanted and I'm going minister somewhere, and he'd be like, take my credit card number. Right. And here it is.
So he sounds like a winner.
Good.
Like, I mean, I'm like,
and I was
I'm
like,
single,
this
girl.
is, I was like, this is a good man.
Yes.
And I just kept telling God, this is a good man. This is him. This is it. This is it. But I knew, and with my mouth I was saying, this is him. This is it. But in my heart, in my mind, in my spirit, I knew it wasn't, because I'm like, first of all, he was separated, not divorced. Separated, and you know he had been separated on for a while before I even came in the picture. So for the audience, I didn't break up a home; it was already broken. But I was like, but I still kept trying to tell myself, this is him, you know. And I even went to my pastor, which I've never done. Went to any pastor about anything that I'm dealing with, but you know, I love my man and woman of God, and I trust them. And so I went to him, and I was just like, this is where I'm at. You know, this is what I have going on. And he said, this is not the man for you. He said, God has a man for you, but that's not him.
Was that hard to hear?
Yeah, and I was just like, just maybe he missed it. You know?
I know. You sure you heard from God, or is that your flesh, Pastor?
But I was like, oh my God, like maybe he missed it, you know. But I was like, but my spirit man knew what he was saying was for real. But did I leave it right away? No, I stayed in it almost a year later. But I was like, and I went to God. I'm like, I don't understand. I didn't go seeking this man. This man came to me. And I'm like, I'm trying to understand. You sent me, you allowed me to be with this man that's a good man. And I kept saying, he's a good man to me. He's a good man to me. And finally God said, stop. He's a good man to you, but he's not God's man for you. Oh. And I say, well, ouch.
Hold on, you got to run the tape back, run the tape back. Please repeat that for the people in the cheap seats, girl.
He said, you're right, daughter. He is a good man to you, but he's not God's man for you. And so sometimes God allow us to keep the good thing, but we're missing the God thing. Oh. So we got to decide, which one do I really want? Because it's not a forced thing. He going to allow you to settle for that good thing.
Okay, now you on Speak Up Sis Talk Radio, because you are supposed to be author, Mary Roberts, but I think we getting into minister, Mary Roberts. Wow, that's some good stuff. Those are some really, really good nuggets that I think people can totally take away from this. And I'm sure there are some women listening, and I'm sure even some men who need to understand that sometimes good is the enemy of best.
Come on now. That's true.
Good is the enemy of best, because when you got a good thing, you won't let it go to get the best thing.
No.
And God has the best thing
and
for us.
You'll settle for that good thing.
You'll settle for that girl. Listen, woo! So let's transition a little bit and talk to us about how that experience plays out in your book. Is your book a novel? And I know, but I want you to share with our listening audience. Is this more of a novel? Is it more informative? Is it more of just a nonfiction memoir, biography? So tell us.
It is informative.
Okay.
I feel like we all go through things to help someone else, and I felt like my pain I had to put on paper.
Okay.
And that's, to me, whenever I write, it's therapeutic for me.
Me too.
And so when I was able to start writing my pain, when the Bible tells you to write the vision, but when you're writing your pain, then now it's become a reality. I'm really dealing with this.
Yes.
And I'm like, but as I wrote, I felt better and better. And the weight was lifted a little bit more every time I wrote.
Yes.
And I was just like, okay, so if that helped me, this maybe can help somebody else.
That's right.
Because somebody else is right where I was.
Almost definitely. Oh, you just helped them just in the few minutes that we've been on here. So I know to sit down and actually read your words, I know that's going to be a blessing. I also noticed within your book that you have scripture in here, and what I liked was in chapter 9 you've actually got some ways to help people who are coming up out of this situation, and you've got 31 days of affirmations to decree and declare about yourself. And some people may think, oh, that's nothing, but when you are kingdom minded and you understand kingdom principles, right, then you understand that what you say is what you're creating for yourself. So I love that after you give all these good nuggets, you have a section in here where people can actually begin to speak over their own lives to help change what's going on in their lives. So why did you feel the need to put these 31 days of affirmation? And are these affirmations that you yourself say every day?
They are affirmations that I had to say to help me through
that
what
particular
I was going
time.
through.
Gotcha.
And it was just a reminder that what God said to me. Like, for instance, like, I am beautiful from the inside out. A lot of people look at the outside in. But God had to remind me, or I'm confident in who God says I am. Well, sometimes you're not going to get somebody to say, good job, Mary, or good job, Miss Angel, or good job on the book. I read it. It was good. You may not get that from the people you think you're going to get it from.
Right.
But you have to be reminded what God says. Because if we just hang on to the words of what people say, we may never get nowhere.
Exactly.
You may never try to do anything.
Exactly.
But I was like, but I had to remind myself, even though I was hurt and I was in pain, but God still can heal me. I had to remind myself that this man may have not been my king, but I had to remind myself that somewhere God said I have one.
Right.
Or that he's going to send me one, or that this is not the God man, this is the good man. So I have to remind myself by writing the words and reminding myself that, what did God say about it?
Right.
I know what man say, or my friends say, or my family say, but what did God say?
Right.
Can you look and see what God says about it? Because man might say you can't do it, but did God say that? No. He said you can do all things. And I'm like, so it's just a reminder. And sometimes I have to go back and say, I might have a day where I'm not feeling so beautiful.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, where's that affirmation, that day that it says I am beautiful? And I have to go read it and remind myself, because I haven't arrived.
I know that's right. I know that's right. So listen, here you told us about the guy, right? The reason you found yourself in a place needing to write about being filled with pain and moving towards being filled with purpose. We even talked about what you had to say during that time. But I would like to know what you had to do, because I'm sure that's where the real pain shows up, when you actually have to live what you say you believe.
Right.
So what were some actions that you had to take to move from being filled with pain to being purpose-filled?
Well, it started with my church went on a 40-day consecration. And when I had never been on a consecration, I really didn't know what it was. But I was willing to do whatever it took to get free.
Right.
And so when I started finding out what it was before we went on it, I started writing down what they told us that we was going to pray for. But I wrote down things that I needed too. I said, God, I know that we're praying for different things for the community, for our leaders, you know, for the government. I said, but I need some stuff. And I'm like, and I'm looking at an expectation of deliverance. And so I wrote a list of things that I wanted to happen for me.
Okay.
At the end of the 40-day consecration. And when I say that it did, with writing the book and the confirmations that I wrote and even following that consecration, God delivered me from that relationship. Because the very first thing on that list was cut the ties from this man.
How did you do it? Like, do you have some steps? Like, what did you actually, because it's one thing to tell somebody, you need to cut these ties.
Right.
And soul ties we know are real.
Right, they are.
It's another thing to show a person how to do it. Like, can you tell us some specific actions you took to cut the ties?
Well, every day that the list that like I say that I wrote, every day I would call out that list. Every day I would say, cut the ties from this man, deliver me from this, you know, allow me to do this, you know, help me to get my finances, whatever I put on that list, because it was going out into the atmosphere.
Gotcha.
And God said his word won't go out and return on them void. So I kept speaking it, and people think it's not that easy just to speak it, but it is just that easy. If you believe what you're saying, if you really have a desire for the change. Now, sometimes people will say stuff and they say, well, I want stuff to change, but they no actions behind it.
Right.
And so words need more than just words. You gotta have.
So when he called, because I'm sure you're having this moment with Jesus, you're having this come to Jesus moment. Like, this is not the man God has for me.
Right.
But he doesn't know that, so he's still calling.
No.
So how did you deal with him still trying to be a part of your life while you are, you know, you're affirming and you're declaring and you're decreeing and you're speaking and you're praying and you're fasting, but you still got a man who's still trying to holler at you. Right. So how did you deal with him?
Well, and like this book is like more about just that one relationship, but it's mainly on that one relationship. But
so you're telling me that you give us some specifics in the book of what you did?
So and like,
okay.
But with that, what I did was, we talked one day, and I told him, this is it. I was like, because I said, I want a husband. But I'm giving you husband benefits, but I feel like you treating me like a homie. And I feel like a homie doesn't deserve husband benefits.
Oh, my
But
goodness.
I have to put a stop to it. You know, and so and after that, it was like an instant. He didn't call me no more. I didn't call him no more. He no longer texts. I didn't text. And it was just, and he knew that I was serious. I'm like, I'm not going to do this anymore.
And that's where that comes in, where you just said, some people have settled in themselves that, yes, I'm changing. And some people are saying it, but they really, that's not what they want in their hearts. That's not the desire in their hearts.
Not at all.
You know, I just heard, I want to say, I was listening to Jim Rohn. Yes, I like listening to Jim Rohn. And he said something like, God doesn't expect us to grow trees. He just expects us to plant seeds. You don't have to know how the tree is going to grow. You don't have to know the process of it. You just need to be able to plant the seeds. He provides the increase. And it makes me think of that based on what you just said. When you decided in your mind, this is what I'm going to do, you began to plant, quote unquote, the seeds, right? You started to say the things. You started to do the spiritual things that needed to be done, right? And you actually did. You planted the seed. Hey, this is over.
Right.
And then God created the situations for him to just move on.
Right.
You don't got to worry about why he leaving,
right?
What part of what I said made him leave?
Right.
But when you still want him to stick around, then you start wondering why he leaving so early.
Right.
Well, I said we ain't gonna be together, and it's like you didn't love me the whole time, right? So, because you really wasn't ready for him to go anyway. That's really what women say, right?
Right.
So that's what that made me think about. Like, are we willing to just step out and do the little thing? God will do everything else.
And I mean, but if we really want something, God will do it.
Yes.
And I mean, you know, but we have to be truthful with ourselves and start with being truthful. You know, even asking God about this man, and I was trying to understand, like, and he was saying, I said, I don't even understand how I got back to this place. I've been in so many bad relationships. How did I, get back to this? And he said, I couldn't see the forest for the trees. Sometimes we so busy focus on the forest. He good looking, he fine, he got it going on, but we miss the trees that he's not divorced yet. He's separated, or he don't have a good relationship with God, and we miss that.
That's an oak tree.
Because because we too busy looking at the forest.
Yes.
And I was like, and I say, but you have to be willing to, if you asking God for something to happen, one, you have to know that it might not happen the way you want it.
Right.
You might say, fix this relationship, and he break it up. Then you trying to say, well, I wanted you to fix it. I wanted you to fix him. I wanted you to let him go ahead and sign the divorce papers. But God say, no, you asked me to fix it for you. And when I say this is not the man for you, or you still, like, I've been in abusive relationships, and it's like, well, but he a good provider. Like my kid's father, he's a good provider. But it's like, but that's not it. That's not who I gave you.
Right.
Because if you read about the type of man that I give my daughters, it's not one going upside the head. It's not one that's going disrespectful, verbally disrespectful. It's not one that's going to treat them any kind of way. But what he kept reminding me of is that you keep selling for fools. You keep selling them for prince. And you wonder why you can't get queen treatment. Because you're not carrying yourself as a queen. You letting them think it's okay for to treat me like the cleanup woman or the slave or whatever, because you're carrying yourself as that. That's why you're getting the fools. You're carrying yourself like a princess. I'll deal with whatever I can get, and I'll be happy. Long as he let me buy me clothes and I can look pretty like a princess does. It don't matter if he doesn't do the things that I want him to do. I'll settle. But when a queen, it doesn't take the crown on her head to remind her she's a queen. She knows it.
She knows it.
She walks as a queen. She talks as a queen. And people reverence her as that queen, even without her crown.
That's right.
Even when she come out without the crown, they say that's still the queen.
That's right.
And I'm like, okay, God, I got it.
I got it.
He said, and women need to know.
Yeah.
You're a queen without the man. Now, when I get ready, I'll send you a king, but the king don't make you a queen.
That's right.
And I'm like, ouch and amen. I got it.
And amen. And so I take it that is the purpose-filled part of the book. Going through being filled with
be filled with
the pain has led you to this place of purpose. So tell us then, because we have come to the end of our show today, but I want to make sure that we hear what it is your purpose is, because we've heard a lot about the pain, but I like to make sure that people know that God doesn't leave us in pain.
No.
He doesn't leave us in pain. And Jeremiah 29:11 tells us, for I know the plans, right? They are for good and not evil, not disaster. So I always say that if you're sitting in a place of being filled with pain and disaster, then it's not the end for you. God don't leave us there. So I want you to leave us today with purpose. I want you to let us know what your purpose is in the kingdom now that God has brought you through being filled with pain.
Well, my purpose is walking as the virtuous woman of God that He has created me to be. What I learned about myself, even through the pain, is that I am a Proverbs 31 woman. I am a virtuous woman of God. And it taught me that I am a queen. And then I can walk boldly as a queen.
Yes.
Not like boastful, but boldly is a difference.
Oh, it's a big difference.
And so I can walk boldly as the woman of God that I am in the kingdom.
Yes.
And I'm like, and no man can change that. Nobody can change who I am. And I found my purpose. I'm like, before I didn't think I had one.
Right.
And I thought that I just continue to operate in pain. But I'm like, but my purpose is to walk as the queen that I am and allow other women to see and show them that they are a queen and they are virtuous women. So that is my purpose.
That's what's up. It's a beautiful purpose. And I'm glad that you have chosen to use writing as a vehicle to share this this amazing purpose, as well as all of these wonderful nuggets of wisdom. Listen, everybody, make sure that you go out and get a copy of Mary Roberts' Painful to Purpose Filled. Okay? And I will make sure that I add Mary's contact information as well as her website onto the Speak Up Sis website. So all you have to do is go to speakupsis.com. You'll see Mary Roberts with Speak Up Sis Talk Radio, and all her information will be there, and you can connect with her in that way. Okay?
All righty.
All right. Well, you all have a beautiful day, and until next time, y'all take care and be blessed. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everyone, we're done for the day. I appreciate your time and ear. I thank you for tuning in to Speak Up Sis Talk Radio, where Christian authors have an opportunity to share their stories to inspire yours. Please visit me online at speakupsis.com. Follow me on Facebook at Speak Up Sis Talk Radio, Instagram at speak.up.sis, Twitter at Speak Up Sis. You can even email if you just like to give feedback on today's show. Email contact@speakupsis.com. Until next time, have a beautiful day. Be blessed. Bye.